Hey everyone, Leanne Pilkington here for the latest Courageous Conversations. And I am joined by Julia Dyer, who's going to talk to us about the Real Estate for Good initiative. How are you, Julia?
I'm well. Thanks, Leanne.
So I met you at the very first Melbourne Catch Up with the Property Girls event would have been 2016, so 5 years ago. Do you even believe that?
I know.
Phenomenal. And you had a relationship because you're into marketing within the real estate space. You had a relationship with Thank You Water. But I want to just start a little bit before that. And you had an experience, quite an experience on Shark Tank. Do you want to tell us what you were promoting on Shark Tank and what happened?
Yeah, sure. Okay.
I know you really don't want to, but I'm going to make you because it's
okay. Story. I don't often talk about this because I feel like I've moved on from this story, but It is part of my story. And I guess, it goes, I guess what I was trying to do when I was developing Sold Story. So I built a platform called Sold Story. It was all about helping to change perceptions in the industry, which is still what I'm trying to do now with the Real Estate for Good accreditation and initiative. Yeah. So it really is on the same plane. But yeah. I guess when I built Sold Story, I was building something I thought the industry needed as opposed to something that I really believed in, that I was coming from my own space, which I'm doing now, and it feels completely different because with that idea, so Sold Story was a platform where I was encouraging agents to share more information behind their sold results. Which a lot of agents do now anyway in their own way.
They do.
So it was at the very beginning of that. So I was creating a platform so agents could do that and, connect with people on a third party, from a third party perspective. So there was a whole prospecting plan around that. But, it didn't work, which I found out was because it wasn't about the agents. And I think selling anything to agents, it needs to be about them. So that's what
Sadly.
It does. Sadly. So that's what true. I found hard. I was like, but for consumers, it doesn't work that way, but, It's very hard to do that. Anyway, so I learned a lot from building Sold Story and it was a big part of my journey. So I went up to Shark Tank to get some funds to keep going with that. Yeah. And, I was so excited about going up to Sydney and presenting this fantastic idea and really pumped. And they just cut me down. It was pretty horrendous. They just really, all 6 of them or 5 of them pretty much said, why would we trust what an agent put on a platform? And I was saying,
John McGrath there involved at that time?
He was not. No, okay. John wasn't there. Yeah. But pretty much all of the others. And then they started having this conversation on how that no one trusts agents. And I was up there trying on national TV to kind of improve perceptions of the industry. And I was devastated. I'm like, oh my God, this is just like a disaster. Here I am trying to push forward, an idea. And with that idea, I was also saying every agent that sells and lists a property through Sold Story will be donating a backpack bed for homeless. Mm-hmm. So I was kind of incorporating social change in that. Mm-hmm. And one of the judges came up to me and handed me $200 and said, your idea won't work, but here's $200. I'll buy 2 backpack beds, and don't try and create a business that's helping other people before you can help yourself, or something like that. So I was like, okay. So I kind of but at the same time I went, well, that's how it is. Like, even though I didn't.
How did you actually pick yourself up after that? Because that would have been really tough.
It really, I feel for those, people that go on reality TV shows. But the thing was, I actually pretty much pleaded with them not to actually go to air because I said, this is just not, I've worked really hard and I work really hard to improve perceptions in the industry, and putting me on and doing that is just so counterproductive. And it's like, I said to them, this is
it's not helpful.
Say you support entrepreneurs and do all this kind of stuff, but if you're, if this is how you're going to be, I said, I really don't want you to put it on. So they didn't. Okay, but I think I'm in a couple of the promo shots, so I was really nervous because they don't tell you either. They don't tell you whether or not they're going to. So anyway, it did take a little while to get my feet on the ground. But I actually sold the story quite soon after that, because I kind of looked at it from a different perspective, which was a blessing. But it actually, going up there and doing that, it led to my next journey in real estate, which was, connecting with Thank You. So I got on the plane and I put my head down into Thank You, the chapter 1, the book there.
Great book if our listeners haven't read it. Yeah, it's really good. Yeah,
pay what you want model, and it opens up this way. And Daniel Flynn was talking about how people were trying to buy a cut of his business, but, in order to promote his product. And he's like, I just wanted to keep it 100% non-for-profit. And he said, so by the end of the, book, it said, well, soon there'll be a day where people will just want to help us promote our product without wanting something back. And so I thought, well, here I am trying to change perception in the industry. We've got this great, product with a company that's got a great ethos, and it's water. I'm getting, countless emails from agents saying, can you design a brand sticker to put on a water bottle for my open homes? I'm like, well, if they just took a Thank You water bottle, not only would it show core values for that agent if they were choosing a product like Thank You, which at that time most people knew about Thank You. And so I would just say, can't do stickers, don't do them, just go. And I would share the wholesale site for the Thank You water bottles. One agent actually stacked his whole office with the bottles. It was amazing.
Yeah, which is great.
And just loved it, felt so good about it. So I started realising this is what I want to do in real estate marketing. I want to help promote social change or help agents kind of improve perceptions by connecting in with social change initiatives. And so at that time there was the backpack bed for homeless, and Jeff Rist is a really great advocate for that cause, and he directly says to me he gets listings because he donates backpack beds. And so you kind of start to realise it's not only making agents feel good, and they're actually creating an impact by purchasing or shifting their spend, when gifting, but it actually helps to improve the bottom line. So, it's easier to promote something like this because social change marketing is everywhere. You can see it everywhere you go. I don't know if it's just because I'm doing it that I notice it.
You notice it, yeah.
Yeah, you know how when you want to get a red car,
your reticular activating system. Thank you very much, Chris Helder. Yep.
That's it. Everywhere I go, and even McDonald's commercial the other day, I don't watch much television, but I saw that commercial, and it was all about how they've stopped using single plastics and how they're, doing these projects out in the farming and about the meat and everything like that. And it's all to do with corporate social responsibility. And I'm like, well, there you go. Like that.
It's a massive shift, and it's around the consumer shift, right? The generations that are coming up behind us are very focused on the purpose of businesses and their core values, and they want to work with businesses that actually share the same values that they share. So it's very interesting. It is a big change. So tell us a little bit about the Real Estate for Good initiative and the accreditation.
Yeah. Okay. So realizing that I wanted to help, as a real estate marketing strategist, I know that there's, other aspects of real estate marketing, but I thought, look, I want to focus on social change marketing because I think it's the most underutilized in real estate. And I noticed how much give back there was from agents. And I'm like, but the perception
is so generous. Agents are some of the most generous people in the community.
I think they give back more than any other industry.
Yeah, I agree.
And I was like, but perceptions are still so poor. Like you guys are the third least trusted, profession, I think, in Australia on a poll. So I was like, it just does not add up for me. So why is this message getting lost? And I'm thinking, well, agents give back, but there's no kind of sign that you do, unless, you might agents might sponsor an event or do something like that. But once it's been done, it's kind of gone, and that's it. And
it's very disparate. Everybody does little bits and pieces, and I've always wanted to be able to say the real estate industry gives back X amount of dollars to the community, but it's very hard to put a value on it because everyone does their own thing.
Yeah. So I thought, wouldn't it be great to have an accreditation like a heart tick, so that anyone that was giving back consumers could see that there was this give back within the industry. And then behind that heart tick or accreditation, there's a different story for everyone. So, gone are the days where there's a big corporate story and that applies to everyone. It just doesn't kind of wash. And I think that because agents are personally marketing so strongly that they're not carrying the corporate message, they're carrying their own message. And so to connect with someone in an appraisal, if you're sharing a story, they're not sharing the corporate story that they're not connected to is not going to help them, connect with consumers. They've got their own story. And I think consumers are now looking for responsible products or services. I mean, I even, I don't know whether I'm a good example, but, there were 3 vanilla essences on the supermarket shelf the other day. And one was one was definitely, a social change initiative vanilla essence, and there was no question for me. I didn't even look at the price. So I feel like consumers are making choices based on social change, how they're feeling when they're buying a product as opposed to the bottom line of the price now. And I mean, that's been proven with the Mount Franklin water and the,
Well, that's the thing. I know Amy Callister, who we all love, tells a story about water. And, it doesn't have a flavour. It doesn't have a colour. The only thing that differentiates it is the brand. And that it's really interesting to think about it. And a lot of people would say that about real estate agents. What differentiates real estate agents? A lot of consumers think we're all the same.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I think there's a really nice opportunity and I think, when, you're in business, if you feel like there's a bigger meaning to what you do, like real estate agents are helping people sell their homes, so they're helping their service providers. Like there's, it's not just about the transaction, but and most agents are really into that service provider. So but it's not about a good service, because everyone's doing good service. Everyone's marketing looks good. Like I'm coming from a place, like 10 years ago when I started in the industry, I was receiving hand-cut flyers in the mail. I was ringing up agents saying, can I help you? Because this doesn't line up with what you're doing. It's terrible. And then all of a sudden there were 3 big brands, the big like Buxton and Hocking, they all started to revamp their image. So all of a sudden, and then others quickly followed. So, 3 to 5 years into, like, now we definitely don't have differentiation with actually quality of marketing.
No.
And even though agents might think my brochures look great, it doesn't mean anything to the consumer really, because the consumer is all about the connection.
That's exactly right. And so this is like a heart tick for social change or for purpose.
Yeah, for purpose
in the marketing. And so but people can choose their own.
So what it is, it's just a heart tick, and then I've got a 6-step process of how you can incorporate this heart tick into your marketing campaign, so that basically when people look for you or when you're in your listing presentation, you've got a little A4 document that says what your story is. You make a page on your website that shares your story, and everything bleeds back to you. So it's not about, I've created the accreditation, but it's all to do with you, all to do with the agent. So once they, get the accreditation, then they can start to implement all of these aspects, even on the email signature. Now that's got to be the most underutilized space in real estate, I believe. And so if you've got a little link to your social change story or a quote that actually is, quite emotive, then if that matters to people, they can click in and read your story. But the thing about the accreditation is it's a whisper. So it's not overtaking all of the other stuff. It's there, but people will notice it. But it's also like some people don't really care that much about social change. It doesn't matter to them. So it's not in their face. So it's really permission-based. It's saying we do give back, and, click here to help.
If you want to find out more,
So it's kind of nice, because a lot of agents say we don't know how to share our story of social change.
Yeah, I was just going to say, so why should people all have the same accreditation rather than just create something themselves in their own office?
Well, I believe it's, about and overall branding that we need to kind of share. As like my vision for the Real Estate for Good initiative is to tell a good story from the inside out. So if we have all different forms of, accreditations, or, saying you're part of social change, or different logos, like for example, an agent might support Thank You and backpack beds, and also give money to the Cancer Foundation. But you're not going to want to have 3 different logos plus your logo plus another logo on your direct mail flyer. You just have one little accreditation that says we give back, and then all of that stuff can actually, and a history of information from the last 10 years can go on the website. So but it's about really, as you said, Leanne, it's about starting to quantify the change that's made. Now, I'm really excited because I'm always trying to learn more in the space of social change, and there's a quantifying, or there's a tool that's called LeadNet. I think I'm going to learn about it soon, and basically share it with leaders who can put that in place. And it's probably a survey, so within their corporate team they can understand who's giving back and how much they're giving, so that we can start to say what the industry is giving back. Now, it might not be for a year or two where we can actually say, here's the impact from the industry, but you can, there are little ways. So I've designed a book called Prospecting with Purpose, and it has all different ideas around social change marketing. And when I was designing that, I was looking at the Keep Cup. So if you're using, if you go to, I think it's Keep Cup, if you go to the actual website, you can put in how many coffees you have a year and how much change it will make if you actually use a Keep Cup. So how many trees it will save, and how many, it shows the impact. So if you're looking at the industry and 10,000 agents start to, stop using the single-use cups, you can kind of quantify how much, change will take place. So I think with social change marketing, it's not about doing everything. It's just about doing little things, and being more conscious in your approach when you're, marketing or gifting. And even just in daily business operations. So, there's so much, it's such a big space. So, with the real estate accreditation, it's also about, I've created this Real Estate for Good community. So inside that space, there's social change awareness posts, and there's better living posts that talk about, how good indoor plants are for, better air quality. So there's so many different arms that can come off this corporate social change, And
so how does somebody, what does the accreditation involve?
So it's really about, I've made it as reasonable as I can. So per office, it's a $297 fee.
Yeah.
And then basically you can go.
Is that just a one-off fee?
That's a fee where you just kind of get everything that you need for an office. So their marketing team can just download that and use and understand how to use that accreditation symbol.
Yeah.
And then each agent, so if there's 5 agents working within that office, there's a fee of $97 per agent per year, so it's less than $7 a month or $8 a month to be in the Real Estate for Good community. And within that community, there are templates that they can use for their listing kits, or the social change templates that are all on Canva. So it's all been created, so it's there to save you time. So if you're interested in social change marketing, you're not going to be spending hours behind a computer or wondering how you're going to get this message out that you actually want to share. It's really a quick plug-in. So I've designed it so it's quite automated, but you can personalize it on your own or with your marketing team, so that it's really easy to plug in. I've made it so simple, but and I think the whole point behind it is really just being able to, plug it in quickly without much fuss, because I know you guys haven't got much time.
Absolutely, that's right. Where detail is not our thing. You've got to make it happen.
Yeah.
And so how's the conversation been going with real estate agents? Has it been positive? Has it been frustrating? Has it been a mixture?
It's been good. It's been really positive. I think that because it's a new idea. Well, it's not really new because you can compare it to the heart tick and things like that.
Yeah, sure.
But it's an immediate it's immediate. Yes, I get it. So it's not. It's been really well received like that, and I think we need a few influencers to take it on, and then it will kind of grow. So
that's right.
It's going to be like that. So I'll be persistent in trying to, just get a few agencies on board so that we can kick it in, and then what I'll be able to do is kind of, spend time talking to more corporations like T2. So T2 3 or 4 years ago, they had I contacted them and said, can I promote your product? I love your product. And they said, we don't have anything social change. And I'm like, oh, can you create something? And they said, oh, we do. They said there was not really that, but now they're a total B2 Corp. Every single tea bag is wrapped with a biodegradable plastic, and they go, their whole infrastructure of their business is based around social change, which is amazing. So I'm talking to the wholesale corporate gift person now, and she's they're developing a pack for real estate agents specifically, and I try and educate, I guess, agents on changing the way they gift. So what normally you might gift a bottle of alcohol to a client, which goes in one night, and they might wake up with a headache. And I was also talking to a client the other day.
And a lot of people don't drink these days as well.
No, and that's what I was saying. But in the day when it was, like back in the day, often a bottle of champagne was a really unique, something special that you wouldn't buy for yourself. But now if someone wants a bottle of champagne, a good bottle of champagne, they'll just go down and buy one for themselves. So it's not that unique anymore.
Sure.
And then
I still don't mind a good bottle of champagne. Yeah. Just putting it out there.
Just saying. So anyway, I was just saying that if it's appropriate for the client, but if they have a T2 box with the 10 individual teas all wrapped, and that would remain in a home for like 3 months, I would say. And every time a friend came around, they'd open this tea box and say, would you like what tea would you like? And they'd say, where did you get that? And they'd say, oh, my agent gave me that. So there's this conversation, this marketing conversation that can be about you as an agent 3 months after if you give a product like that as opposed to a bottle of wine. So it's
how do you feel about putting your logo on the T2 box?
I don't think logos are necessary really for products like this. I think you're aligned with that product when you give it, so you don't need to put your logo on everything, and they should know you by then. So I think that on the card it's nice to have a logo, but I don't think you need to. I think there's a lot of over branding in real estate, and I think that we've got to start. I think my biggest quality is actually seeing things from the consumer perspective, and then, some agents, when I share my prospecting ideas, they're like, it's not for me. And I'm like, well, you know what? It's not for you. It's actually for the consumer. So
funny that.
Yeah. So it's really about, I'm really enjoying this aspect of marketing because it doesn't feel like I'm selling. It feels like I'm inspiring, and it actually, and I know that there is, it is going to create a greater impact, and I think that's my driver, knowing that, if I get 10 agents on board and they all change the way they gift, or they all give even one backpack bed a year, then it's making a difference. So it feels like my job is more meaningful. So I'm not sure if it's for, it's possibly for those reasons that I do kind of keep going.
Yeah.
It's not about I know this isn't for everyone, Leanne, but for those that are interested in doing it, I want to make it easier. And I want to make it work for them in their business, as opposed to kind of doing all bits and pieces and not feel like it's coming back to them in any way. Because I think, consumers want to know if they are actually, if they're working with someone that's doing good in the world, then it feels good for the consumer.
Well, people want to work with people that align with their values. And so whatever your values are, whether it's conservation, whether it's homelessness, whatever it is, people want to connect with others that share the same values. So I think it's a great idea. And I hope that more people start to take it on board. If people want to find out more about it, how can they find out more about the accreditation and about what you're doing?
Okay, so I've set it up pretty simply on realestateforgood.com.au. So you just write realestateforgood.com.au and you can go and you can see a short brand video I've created. And then I've also got my Prospecting with Purpose booklet there, the SlideShare, so you can actually work through the ideas and have a look at those.
Yep.
And I'm sure that will bring great value. And at the end of that document, there's a link to the Real Estate for Good community, and that's where all of the topics and Zooms and courses and accreditation sit. So becoming a member of that community is, will be great, because then if I do have new ideas to share, then you'll get alerted. I'm not going to annoy everyone, but if I do have something, and it's a separate platform that's off social media, and it has everything. So you can kind of have it just as an app on your phone and check in or get alerted if something comes up that's of interest. And, as we move along with the initiative, I'm sure more and more will, come in to play, but there's certainly enough there to get enough value and to get started with. And like I said, it's all about keeping it simple and making sure that it can be implemented really, quickly. So I'm here to help with that. And, but I think the most powerful thing is, the signboard. So if every signboard I'm looking at now that I'm driving past, I'm like, oh, there's a blank spot there where that accreditation can go. And in most cases when I call an agency, I'm like, it's not about qualifying them, because they all give back,
they do. I know they do.
Some way. It's not even a question. It's just like, are you sharing your give back in your marketing campaign? So it's so impressive. And I feel like, clicking into that space and working and helping agents there just, feels right for me. So,
good for you.
Thanks.
Good for you.
Thanks for having me.
Well, that's an absolute pleasure. Thank you for taking the time to share your story, and hopefully some of our listeners will reach out and find out a little bit more about what you do.
Great. Thanks so much.
Take care.
Have a nice weekend.
You too. See you later.
Bye.